Hey there, welcome to CNT Collectibles. I'm C. Hope you are doing well. This is your weekly sports card chart blast. Welcome. And we'll take a look at the price action of some of our favorite collectibles. Price is truth, as always. We will start off with the indices themselves and see what's been working or not working over the past week. And we're starting to see some more green here. A lot of red last week, and we're starting to see wrestling perk up. Baseball in the positive, pre-war vintage, high population cards. So, I mean, that's a good sign. Speculation coming back into the market a little bit here. And so what we've talked about over the past few weeks here is a possible correlation between risk assets in the real life markets like the NASDAQ or whatever, in kind of thinking that now it's at least a local bottom, but maybe more of a more durable bottom, and seeing the NASDAQ pop, and that might be give people some confidence to leak back into some more speculative items like the indices here. The NASDAQ today had one of its, or within the last couple of days, had one of its best days in a long time here, best since March of 2009, which was the bottom of the great financial crisis, and September of 2010, I think, which was another time when we had like a 20% correction, and so it has marked a bottom in the past, and so it's good until it isn't, I suppose, here. So if we start to see speculation in the crypto names and the NASDAQ names, which are pretty highly correlated, we could start to see it here, and the high population is a good place to start. Soccer, mid-end, ultra-modern, all the rest of these things are seeing some red for the most part here. Golf getting hit the hardest again. Very very small index, not a lot going on there, so it doesn't take much to move that thing around here. So, anyways, with wrestling, there weren't a lot of sales in that area there. There was a couple of them, and so when you only have a couple, it's easy to push that index around. So we'll just look at Hulk Hogan, truly a great American, a real American, I think as the song goes here. And so PSA 6, this is the All-Star Series A from 1982, and he's getting back near those all-time highs here. So previous all-time high, let's see, just sold for market cap, population, not that many out there. Current price, average price, high price, $4,000. All right, there we go. Current price, $3,300. So, still off decently, but pretty darn close to that all-time high. The pre-war vintage index also getting a little bit of love. And the only movers there were Lou Gehrig, Ted Williams, and Babe Ruth. I mean, if you have any of those guys, you're probably hanging on to them unless Sports Card Investor comes along and offers you a nice cash deal for one of them. Apparently, according to his new video, Lou Gehrig getting a little bit of love. There's some consolidation here. One sale took it from here down to took it from that high mark of 3,500, cut it in half, and so I get it. There's a lot of variance to these cards here, centering. There's some condition issues. I mean, there's just even though something might get a PSA 1. I mean, there's a PSA 1 that could look way better than another PSA 1. So there's a lot of variance in there. So again, grain of salt, entertainment value. That's what this is here. But getting a little love here. Seems like that's kind of your range, $1,000 or something like that, $2,000. So Ted Williams continues his uptrend and is right around his all-time highs, if not at an all-time high. All-time high price, $6,800. Right there, that is an all-time high. He's within 99 cents of that one here. So, the 1939 play ball, beautiful card. I think there's some colored versions of Ted Williams right in that range there. I'm not an expert on the vintage stuff here by any stretch here, but heck, that card is working just fine. And so this kind of goes with the overall theme. And I don't want to bore you with recession talk or anything like that, but there's multiple types of recessions. Credit recessions, which hit everybody. There's too much leverage, right? And it takes a long time for those to work themselves out. Think great financial crisis. And then you have inventory recessions. Think 2000, 2003, where there's just too much supply of things, prices get slashed, discounted, and you can work through those fairly quickly. We might be headed towards more of the latter, unless you want to count the government's debt as a credit recession, then that could be a huge problem here. But for the most part, an inventory recession is not everything gets hit. People are looking for deals. There's still liquidity out there, and things don't just freeze up or anything like that. And so Babe Ruth, I mean, those higher end, I mean, with inflation and everything going on, people that have this kind of money to spend are not the ones that are going to be affected by this kind of thing here. So they've got plenty of cash to looking to do something with it. And as people that are looking for cash, knock these prices down, which isn't the case in Babe Ruth, but you can see it in like Walmart. They're having to, they're seeing people trade down, and then they've got too much inventory that they're going to have to slash prices on. So that's where we see, more of that inventory recession. But again, deals will be had. I don't know if Babe Ruth is a deal here. We're sitting around the highs, but anyways, recession talk. I don't even know why I brought that up, but here, if you try to sneak a little finance in here once in a while. It's all good. It's all good. So that vintage index, that was the pre-war, the vintage, right around its all-time highs as well. Looks like it may start to be rolling over a little bit. I don't know, but it's been a monster here. So again, the people that aren't going to be affected by these types of recessions, they can afford these higher dollar cards, and those are the ones that maybe hold up the best in certain cases here. So the speculation cards are for schmucks like us, where it's like, all right, I'm spending $65 to fill up my gas tank now. I don't have money for cards or anything like that, and so that really hammers the low end. These guys don't care about that. So Lawrence Taylor, top of his range, declining wedge, does tend to lead to a breakup, but while you're into it, it is a downtrend overall. So currently we're sitting at 1800. And perhaps this thing gets cut in almost half before it is a buy again. One sale took it way up there. That's a big move there. And I think if you're waiting, you'll probably do all right there. Satchel Paige continues to make new highs. This thing's absolutely ripping. Currently sitting at 37.5 after this breakout. Just a monster move there. And Robin Yount in a PSA 7, one of your bigger movers in that vintage index as well. A lot of chop here. So sub $200. I mean, end of the world, probably not. You could probably get it a little cheaper or something like that. But I saw him at spring training a few years ago in Arizona. They play at Burrs. I think they're Maryville or something like that. I don't remember exactly. There's a guy sitting behind the first base dugout signing autographs, stuff like that. I'm like, who's this guy? Whatever. I mean, he looked like a freaking player, and it was Robin Yount. It's like, all right, he kept himself in shape. So all right, we'll get into some of the bellwethers here. Mike Trout continues to grind lower. So this was a card that we looked at and think that's a problem, and it continues to be a problem. He's got a serious potential long-term back issue. If I were a real analyst, I would say I'm suspending coverage of Mike Trout. But we always got to look at Mike Trout here. So, but what we maybe not be able to say anymore is no one can be worth more than Mike Trout. He's a generational player. He's a Hall of Famer. He is not Pujols level. He's not Cabrera level if things were to end today. So his prices are going to likely adjust to that as people don't know what the future holds for Mike Trout, and so that's kind of the sad part. It's like we got an excellent 10 years out of him. We don't know maybe we'll get another excellent 10 years. I don't know. But that back issue could be a big problem. People are unsure of what is going to happen here, and so they're exiting the high end at least for now. And his cards continue to grind lower as markets can absorb information. They just need information, good or bad. They can start to do something with it. All right. So the markets over the past couple of days have been, in the real life, some of the two best days since 1970, since the Fed raised rates as much as they have. And it's because the information's out there that can handle it, for the most part. All right. With Mike Trout, it's like, well, we don't know what's going to happen here. Can we process this? Can we synthesize it properly? It's like, no, we can't. We don't know how this is going to play out here. So is this going to be a Lemieux thing where he's incredible and then grinds lower? So still just generational type stuff for our generation, but all time, whatever. Lemieux all time, obviously. So anyways, maybe that's a bad comp. So anyway, off a high print from 35,000, we're sitting at 8,700, and I'm not sure, we're running into a little bit congestion here, maybe with some people that find this a good deal, but it's I don't know how many people are going to step on this one. So we have some Fibonacci retracements, which are potential psychological levels for reversal. And basically, I just marked it at 0 and a high at 35,000. And so, take away half that, you got 17.5, which, somewhere in between 17.5 and 13.3 is going to be your typical retracement. We've blown right through those. And so now we're coming up to potentially 7,500, 5,000 or something like that. And I've got them marked here. So, it could be, you could see even lower than that. Mike Trout, perhaps he's, if Juan Soto does incredibly well over the next decade or something like that, maybe those guys should be equal. I don't know. So I have to start looking at the population counts and all that kind of stuff. I mean, those are going to have a factor in it, but Mike Trout, I'm not sure what really stops the decline at this point here. So again, I'm still looking at some lower end stuff, and I'll be happy to pick one of these up. But I mean, I might be waiting sub 4,000 on that one there. So, all right, enough jibba jabba. Mike Trout, we got a couple different of his base PSA 10 is actually getting a little bit of love here, a little bit of pop off that 1850 level, which was support. So that's kind of your range right now. We can see something upwards of I forget what it is, 2,500 or something like that. Maybe that's your upside on that. But if you look at the BGS and the SGC. There's a lot of talk about these different grading companies, and I think Carlos really had a nice video on that. So like it doesn't matter. This is a feature. These different grading companies and their price discrepancy, and so what you want in a market, you want opportunities. And totally agree with him. He did a really nice job on that, and so we're seeing those right now with the SGC and the BGS. I mean, they're at quite a discount. These would be considered mint, and they're quite a discount to the PSA overall. And so, if you are looking for a Trout and want to leak in a little bit and think this is a nice opportunity, maybe this isn't a big deal as it could be, and these may present a little bit better opportunity on those. This is the PSA 10's ticking up. The other ones not so much there. So. Aaron Judge, all right. Coming back off the All-Star break, he have 5 home runs? Just a monster one. I think when we do our 3 up, 3 down, or whatever it is we call it, buy, sell, I mean, he's going to be on that list as it stands right now. He's been the best player coming out of the break here. So kick saving his cards at this support level a bit here. Now you're getting to the top of the range where is he going to keep having 5 home run weeks? It's like, yeah, probably not. Could he be an MVP? Yep, sure, absolutely. He's certainly leading that conversation. He and Jordan. So, but again, top of the range, and it's I think for now it's like, hey, let's just watch. That's the refractor in a PSA 10. Pete Alonso having his best season ever, and again, he's another player that's come out of the gates smoking hot here for the quote unquote second half. And not a lot of love for his cards. A lot of sideways action. I've got been buying a few of his cards in the preseason. And if you look at his high-end stuff, some of the numbered autograph cards or whatever, they are sitting at all-time highs. So perhaps you'll start to see people trade down into these names. I don't know for sure, but sitting at this level, it's like, okay, maybe that's not the worst. It's a little bit pricey. You're getting close to $100, and for some people, it's like, all right, there's better things to do with my money than a Pete Alonso refractor. It's like, yeah, I don't blame you on that one here, but 36. Keep that number in mind. If he's able to play another 10 years, right? Who knows, right? But I mean, if you're a Hall of Famer, you're paying 30 to age 37, 40, something in that range here. If he can average 36 home runs over those 10 years, we have a 500 home run guy, and that punches a ticket. And so that's kind of what I'm looking at for him. He's been a pretty terrific bat since 2019. He's got more home runs than anybody. And it's like, all right, well, maybe that's his path here. And so again, this area, there's a lot of buying on it, and it's like, all right, I mean, this is one of the better players in the league, and people still are just kind of like, yeah, whatever. So Adley Rutschman, don't look now, but he also is coming out of the gate hot. No home runs, but he's batting like 400 over the past week or so, and he's a highly touted prospect. He can absolutely do this, and maybe starting to figure things out just a little bit. And so if you are big on the Adley Rutschman trade, you're like, hey, next Matt Wieters or something like that. It's like, well, okay, well, let's not go there. But is coming into a nice area of support. That is the BGS 910, 9.5/10 autograph rookie. I don't think it's numbered or anything like that. Just the chrome autograph or whatever. So probably a decent year to start picking this up as he starts to heat up. So it's maybe something there. And Matt Chapman, off of the long-term, the long-term list, this is not a guy that's, first couple of years, 7-win player. It's like, oh my gosh, we got something here. It's like, all right, now we don't have something here. The last couple of years have been kind of brutal. But he's coming out of the gates pretty hot as well here, so he's starting to hit a little bit, and we'll see if he can stay healthy and if he can keep it going. I mean, you're talking about a $12 card that could be a $30 card, so it's like, all right, perhaps there is something there. So again, not a long-term hold by any stretch, but if you're looking to have some fun, I mean, that's an option there. And Fernando Tatis is coming back potentially soon here, and perhaps he is finding some support just in time. I don't know. I mean, this is a pretty persistent downtrend. He's had support before, and it hasn't mattered, and this may not matter as well. I mean, it's a $270 card. There could be some selling in this area here. But we'll see what happens when he plays. He's a beast, all right? And so maybe interest picks up. I would wait for a break of that downtrend for anything. But if you're highly speculative and you can manage your risk properly, then that kind of that 270 area is your line in the sand. All right, moving on to some football. We're gonna look at a few of the Tier 1 quarterbacks came out this year or this week on the best quarterbacks according to something. I forget what it is. But Aaron Rodgers made the list, and that was like the first time not the first. It was like the 16th consecutive year or something like that, something crazy. So finding support, this is the PSA 10, this is the Chrome PSA 10 base, sitting at around $3,000, call it $2,900. Finding support here, and maybe we see a little bit of pop here, starting to threaten to break that longer term trend just a little bit. I don't know, but could start to see some love. Risk reward sets up favorably if you have a quick handle. It starts to get maybe that 2,700 is your line in the sand on that one here. But it's like, all right, I mean, he's been terrific. Hall of Fame this year could be rough, so that's the risk on that one here. If you don't want to risk the $3,000, you could look at the BGS 9.5 and get it for a third of the price. Here's Aaron sitting at longer term support. Again, manage risk appropriately. Just an Air Bear Silver PSA 10 sitting around the lows-ish, I guess. I mean, I think people are pretty high on them this year. It's like, all right, well, let's see what happens. This has been an area where some buying has come in, but it's thinly traded, so a weird deal could completely screw that up. Again, if you want to do something a little bit more budget friendly for $230, you can get a hollow raw. 180 is kind of your line in the sand on that one here. It's getting a little bit of love, and it's a $230 card. So not the most when you're looking at hollows and quarterbacks, so not the most pricey thing in the world or anything like that. And so maybe that is a way to play that if you think he will have a good season. Joey B Silver PSA 10, $2,500, getting into an area where people have been pretty eager to snap it up in the past. He's more of one-offs or anything like that, so you have to be extremely quick if it gets a whole lot lower. But again, could be a pretty darn good season for Joey B. The caveat is his silver, and this could be a good news or bad news. The silver raw is getting into an area where selling has taken place in the past year. So that it's rising and going up so much, great. That's going to put some upward pressure on those graded cards, right? It's like, all right, that silver raw gets more expensive. It's like, well, I'm just going to buy a graded card at some point, right? But at the same time, if selling starts to take place here, as it has every time in the past, then that could put some more downward pressure on the on those other cards here. So they could, not going to be as whippy as this one, but again, could slide a little bit lower. So we shall see on that one there. But the probably not buying the raw at this level here. So all right, a couple fun ones, and we out of here. Adam Baum, PSA 9. This is your poster boy, making not new highs or anything like that, but sure, it's protected your money. Maybe a little bit better than some. High price $2,200, sitting at $1,500. So hasn't protected perfectly or anything like that. If you're that guy, if you're that person that bought that one, hasn't done a great job. But if you bought in here, anywhere in here, you're doing just fine. And we'll wrap it up with Luke Skywalker, Wonder Bread, PSA 9, $200 card. That's a really cool card. I like that image. I might hop on and go find something like that here. A lot of buying in this area. What the hell? It's not going to hurt you. Even if it drops to $100, like, oh my gosh, 50% loss. You lost $100, and you've got a Luke Skywalker. That's not a bad deal. As Darth Vader would say, if I altered the deal, probably don't alter it any further. So I don't even know if that fits, but I'm going with it. And hope you have a great weekend. And we're out of here. Bye now.